or your devs coding too slow or you're shipping too slow, well, there's a tool in the market called Cursor where basically they took VS Code, they add AI on top of it, and now you can use it to help you code, use the AI, and it will replace your code directly. And it's been game changing for my company. So in this video, I go show this tool to my team of 34 developers, ask them how they're using it from a mobile dev point of view, from a backend point of view, from a front end point of view, and a data science point of view. And you can hear how we use it, how best effectively to use it, and how are things going to change by using it. For like the whole weekend, because I know a lot of us don't have time. So I've really used it, and after using it, I really think it's very important we start using it. Like this is not optional, because like this will literally cut a lot of our time out, right? And I want to show you exactly how I used it so that you guys can understand it and what it's not going to work, right? So so to start, okay, so what is Cursor, right? Cursor is an IDE, so it's built on top of VS Code. So basically, it's a direct replacement of VS Code. So whatever you have in VS Code, it just transfers over, okay? It has autocomplete using AI, and they have a chat, they have compose, and then they have edit inline, okay? And you can choose whichever AI you want. And I think some of you might say, well, I can just go to ChatGPT or I can go to Claude and just do it there, right? But here, it can connect directly to it. It'll make the change for you in the same spot that the code needs to be. So you don't have to copy and paste it back into your code, okay? If anyone has questions, just ask why I do it, right? Okay, so what is Cursor not used for? So it's not really, it's auto-completing. It's not really good. Like if I'm typing I'm typing, okay, I need to add ID, add name, it won't predict that I need status next. Does it make sense? So like if you think, oh, it doesn't work because of auto-completing, the autocomplete is the worst feature that you would use. So you wouldn't need to use it, okay? It's not very good if you give it very high level architecture or high level instructions, basically, right? So you need to be very specific what you want. And basically it cannot read your mind, basically. And you need to tell exactly what you need, okay? What I found was very useful for me when I was using it was if I made a class and I'm like, here's a list of to-dos I want you to do, then you go to compose, you say, these are the files you have to reference, and then ask the AI to complete it for you. That works really well. And then you tell it to revise it afterwards. The other angle that we tried was you highlight a section of code, and then you press Control I, and you say, at the relevant file, say, hey, I have this bug. Tell me what the bug is. This works really well as well, okay? Then the next one, for people who use Code Builder in the past, basically, it could just do what we did in the Code Builder, basically. So basically, if we have a config file, a JSON config file, and we're like, ask the AI, generate code based on this config file, it's really good at this. For people who are doing React and front end, if you press Control K and highlight some code, you could say, move the padding to the right and change it red. So any of the Tailwind stuff is very good at that. Or if it's like, oh, like highlight some code and say, oh, if this condition, then make this true. It's very good for that as well. It's very quick, very fast, right? It's also very good at multi-file updates. So basically, I'll show you an example later, but basically if I say like, hey, I need to make this change from this config file and it affects these 5 different files, and you tell it what to do, it will go make those changes in all the files, okay? And then the last thing I found that's very good was it's very good at refactoring out your logic. So imagine you wrote your code and then you highlight the file and you say, refactor this code out into a separate service. It can do it for you very well. So does anyone have any questions so far on this? Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, no questions. Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to show you an example, right? So for me, I would just try in a different language. I can do this in Python like next time, but like I just did this in PHP this time just for testing purposes. So here's an example, right? We have a pagination class to do, store the page starting at 0, limit, so set the variables, make a function to set the private variables, make a function to set list data, make a function to get list data, right? And then return the pagination object with is next, is previous, is cursor. So when I did this, it did it perfectly the first time, right? So has anyone done this kind of method when they're testing in their project, or anything that anyone want to share of doing something similar to this?
Okay, so it's you're referring to the autocomplete or the composer?
Composer. I basically don't use the autocomplete for anything. I wrote these to-dos, right? And then I would tell composer to go implement it afterwards.
Okay. Actually, I haven't used much the composer thing. Mainly, I'm using the editing inline.
No. So editing inline is very weak. Like I'll show you examples where I use it, but the composer is really good. Like it literally does this part for you. But can you guys picture in your projects how this can be useful?
Oh, I haven't seen where I use the inline and the charts, but which one is the composer?
Yeah, so I can show you. So composer is here, right? So you see this floating thing here, this one? It's basically a floating window that's always around, right? And basically you can just, it's always here, basically. You can find it. It's usually shrunk. So here, like I told you guys, I rewrote Bass in like 4 hours, right? So
The entire
all-
thing.
yeah, I literally recreated all this in 4 hours. So here, maybe I deleted the pagination thing because I didn't need it. But for example, like a good example would be what happened here. All right, you guys just want to give me an example? I don't know. We could do something. Upload service. Let's go upload service. So we can go class, upload service like this, right? So I can go like this, right? To do, right? So basically I can say make function that takes in the form input, takes the files field, save to upload folder, and change the name with MD5 and return the path to the file, right? And then we could have to do make function to filter file types and size. And then next one, yeah, and the next one could be upload to S3, right? So imagine this was your example, right? So then what I'll do is I'll say Control I, and then here at the bottom you see here, it tells you which files to include, right? Here. So if I just say, if I choose, I just want upload service here, then I can say implement the to-dos in this file. It will go implement it, right? And then you can include more files in those, and it can go cross files as well. See? So basically now writing code is almost like reviewing a pull request, basically, right? So here, it defines the private variables, the constructor, then it uploads the files, throw exception, here's the file. So basically then here I would say accept, and then basically I will look through the code and see, oh, okay, this is not right, then I'll go change it. This is not right, then I'll change this. But can you guys see how much faster this is, right? Like there's no reason we should not use it, right? I've done mainly on the backend stuff. I can make more samples on the React side later, but I just didn't get time to do that. But does this make sense to you guys? And guys, I want everyone to contribute. Like I don't want, it's not just I'm talking, because once after this, I want everyone to use it, right?
I'm using it, actually, I'm using it, but I don't see the composer thing. I don't have autocomplete. Do I need to set it up?
No, it should be here automatically. Compose.
It's not there.
I think it's the Control I.
Control I, yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, Control I.
Control
So
I.
there will be a pop-up window that will open, and then
Is the cursor by region or the features by region? I think I don't have the composer and the autocomplete. So I think some features are limited per region, I guess.
Well, so one thing I was thinking was maybe if you guys can try it, like just choose someone to do it. Maybe we'll make an account or maybe I'll make the account, log in as Manaknight Digital Dev, and then everyone logs in as that account. So like we can try that as well if you guys want, and then I could put that one on the paid account if you guys want to try that.
Oh yeah, I see the composer, Control I, but the autocomplete, what's that one now?
No, autocomplete, you don't need it. It'll automatically autocomplete. Does it make sense? So
It doesn't come up for me. I've been using it since last week.
no, so sometimes the autocomplete is, like sometimes you see these like gray text while I'm typing. So I'm gonna
I think
see here, see the gray text come up.
Yeah, well, I know that's the autocomplete. I don't have it.
I think you have to enable this from the settings.
Yeah, I think you go here, click settings here. Here,
From
I think
the
it's, like,
features tab.
features. Yeah, enable. See composer. You have to enable the tab. Code base, chat, editor. So you have to enable some of the stuff.
It may be the cursor.
Oh, cursor
Not in the features tab.
here. Yeah, here.
Yeah. I think you have to just enable this cursor tab.
Does that make sense, Ben?
I don't have cursor tabs.
No, here. See the gear on the top right. Control Shift J.
No, I see that. I've opened the settings, but I don't have cursor tabs.
I check in on the.
No, it's under features.
It's on the features. Okay, great. Yeah, I do.
Here. Okay, so I want you guys to give me examples. Like from the back end, this is an example, right? Okay, like someone on the front, someone who does React work. Give us an example how you can do this on the front end. What's an example so people have more context?
Well, I sometimes use it to update the code really fast. I can just swap, or maybe last week I was trying to rearrange the code. Maybe I was feeling a little bit lazy to like, oh well, maybe I would have scattered the code if I tried to cut and paste them. So I just highlighted everything and Control K, told it to move things around, take this to the top, take it to the bottom, this one in the middle, and it did it exactly.
So one example I could see is like, let's say we made a new React page and you're like, here's the API, it's a post request, here's the variables, put it into a card, and the card has a picture on the left, has a text on the right, and then generate this. I think you could do that and it will generate the page for you.
Yeah, that might work.
Okay. Kapil, Omar,
Yeah.
like what can you guys like? What can you guys see? What can you do on Android like this or iOS?
I have used this for the Android, and the Android side I was able to make it like a design. So I was I just give the image screenshot of the design, and I tell them like create the design for this and generate the code for this, and it is a helpful tool. It generate the XML file, and even it's also create the code for it. And then I tell them create this service request, and it's also create the service request for the Android.
Okay. So you guys
And
can see like it's working for different places, right? Korshak, how do you use in data science for you?
So yeah, so from last 3 to 4 days, I'm using Cursor. So basically, the thing is that I'm using for different files. So I have in the scripts folder, there are different scripts that are integrated with each other. So they are taking some modules from other scripts. So what I did is that just calling those modules. So just calling those modules, and in the same function, I'm asking that just take those modules from this particular function and then create another function that will be do for this thing. For example, error handling and APIs that are being created, and also the training function that we have trained so far. So we are calling those functions and then generating the code. And basically, as I actually tested for Python, like for most of the popular languages, it actually works really good. One of the example is Python, and also I haven't actually used for React and other side, but for Python things, it really works well.
Yeah, it even works for PHP, which is old, so it will work better with JavaScript and Node.
Yeah,
Okay.
basically the thing is that the more of the data that has been trained for Python and the most popular languages, that's the thing. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
It works actually well with React as well. So what I was doing is like I was using it for mainly design purpose. So I was taking a screenshot from Figma file, and we can attach actually image in the prompt. And I was like designing that thing with some placeholder functions, which I actually later filled in with another prompt by selecting those. So design-wise, the small components, sometimes it actually miss that. So you have to like take those components like handle in a separate prompt with a separate prompt. But mostly the scale of the design it can get very well.
Yes, and then you can highlight it and just do Control K and do a quick edit, and it will make the change.
Yeah, exactly.
So next is like how it fixes a bug. So for example, here on this page, I just generate this. I'm like, okay, all the list page is not showing, right? So I'm like, so how I fix the bug is basically, I just showed here, right? I'm on the admin/cms/URL page. The side menu is showing, but the center part is blank. I think something's wrong with the list code, right? So if you describe it well, there's like, thank you for this. And it actually went to fix two files here. See, list.php and then index.php. And then it will highlight it in green and red. Basically, on each one, you can say Control-Shift-Y or you can say Control-N. It's almost like reviewing a pull request where basically you say, I accept this change or I don't accept this change, right? So it's very good at finding bugs. At least when I was doing the testing with PHP. Have you guys tried it in Node and React, data science? How good was it at fixing bugs for you guys?
Yeah, yesterday I tried for a bug and it worked perfectly. And I just shocked when I see this. I just working with some logic and that was not working. I just select the whole code and press Ctrl K and write a prompt for that. It was not working for the front. Something I write for the code, and he managed to do the code exactly what actually I need, and he fixed all the bugs from that code.
Okay. How about on the Node side, or DS side, or Android side? What have you fixed with bugs on this?
On the Node side, actually, it worked. So I was like creating some job service, and like we have that job service is included into core bash folder, and like we have to pass like job a task name under the job folder inside the custom repository. So like when I actually told to create like job for that specific project, like the Outloud project that I'm working on, so it actually like perfectly spotted the file it has to work on. Though the logic was not like the perfect one, but like with then I actually had to edit a little bit, sometimes with Control K and sometimes by hand, and yeah, it works fine then. So it gets the like a kind of hierarchical memory of all the project, which is like a plus rather than the
So I don't rely on
copilot.
that. I always tell it which files to know, right? So in Compose, you tell it what files to know.
Okay.
On the Android side, have you guys fixed bugs with it? And data science side?
Yeah, for the Android side it's also work like we just give the command like we are required this type of logic, it's generate the code for it. And even we required to change the design, we just provide the image, like we require the design of this image, and it generate a XML, like a multiple drawable XML in a different files. And I facing one issue like on the dependency, like it's not able to add the dependency in the gradle file, in the build files, so we have to add that on manually. But apart from this, it's a good tool for the both for the iOS and for the Androids.
And then for DS?
For the React Native,
No, data science.
Okay, so for data science, as I mentioned, for creating class, I actually use this. So for example, we have different functions. So whenever we are doing some R&D on our site, we are actually taking mainly we are testing on notebook side and also creating separate scripts. But those are not actually like the actual file that we are gonna integrate in our development server. So what I did is that I just taking those script from the notebook or maybe the script that I have tested, then create another class that it will reorganize everything in a class structure, so that we can in future we can use this class. And I have done this like 2 to 3 days. It's working good actually. And also the class structure, everything is fine, like for each of the component. And it also create a valid class name for each of the functions that are basically put it into those particular class, and then we can call those class using the object.
So basically, I'm just gonna show the end of this. So basically, this is the problem. This is the fix. It told me what to change. And then I got this is another example. We got some warnings. I passed the warnings here, and then it solved the problem, right? Again, here, another warning, goes cross files, solves the problem. And then here, I think they did something silly, like it combined the two APIs together when it should just be one each. So that's another example. So next thing I tried was code generation from a config file. So for people who've been around since we did code builder, you guys remember the Node code builder or the PHP one, where basically we have a config file like this, and then we generate the code. So this was really, really good at doing that, basically. Basically, I just said, okay, look at the core.configuration.php validation, loop through each table. In each table, make me to create, update, delete, paginate in the view page for each table. Use the correct input fields for each table and use CDN Tailwind, and then create me a layout for this, right? And then from here, it made these files and it made me this, right? So it's very powerful for doing configuration work. Okay, then the next thing I said was, okay, let's add more fields to this so that we can handle all the get and get all requests and export. Another scenario I've tried was refactoring, right? So basically I gave it, here's my function. I told it to, in the Lambda, help me abstract out all the token logic into a token service. And then it did that properly. So it's very good at refactoring, right? Other simple things like quick edits, so Control K, highlight it and then make the change. This works very well for small things on the back end. And then for front end, here's the code. I forgot to add only show the fields from this configuration file. So if I was to do this normally myself, this might take me like 10, 20 minutes, right? This literally took less a minute to do. There's also Control L. I don't think you need Control L that much, but basically the idea is you copy some code, then you highlight some code, press Control L, and it shows up in the chat window on the right. But with Compose now, I don't think you really need this.
That's actually handy while like facing some DevOps issues. So you want to discuss like the issues with AI, like not generating, but you want to like know as much as possible about the errors. So in that place, it's actually handy. I have been using that.
Yeah.
And also one thing is that like whenever I actually run any script, for example, I got some bugs in the terminal. So what we can do is that we can select those error and then use the Control K or something and then fix the bugs. So so in terminal it also works pretty well.
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting.
Yes, yes. So you can actually just select the bug or the error in the terminal, and you can just Control K or something. You fix the bug.
Okay.
And one thing is that so I actually noticed that in one of my repo there are multiple PDF files and text files. So whenever you will open this repo, so I actually open this repo, it actually takes a bit of time, because first whenever you will open any repo, it will create the embedding for the entire workspace. So if you have like multiples of PDF files or folders, so it will I don't think like it generate embedding for the PDF files, but I think it generates the embedding for the programming language. Like it actually maybe track the .py extension and also .js extension, those codes, and create the embedding first. So it also the embeddings depends upon the code base, like how big it was, and based on the code base structure or the complexity, it takes a bit of time.
Yeah, but for me, like I said, I don't rely on any of that. Like whenever I want to solve a problem in Composer, I tell exactly what files to look at, and I found that this was way more precise. Okay, so here's an example of me going multi-file. So basically, I said, hey, add a button on the paginate button and the list page called export, right? And then when they click on the button, it creates a new route for this. It looks through the configuration file, find me the fields that it needs to export out, and only return those fields, and then download a CSV. So for this already does 3 different files, right? There's API, there's front end, and then it needs to export it out, right? And it did this all within like a minute, right? This one's also very powerful. Basically, apparently, you could take a screenshot from Figma and then paste it here in the chat and say implement this UI in Tailwind and put it on the screen. So anyone that reacts, have you guys tried this out yet?
No.
Yeah, I have.
And how is it?
Yeah, it was good. As I said earlier, like it generates the basic structure fine, but you still have to like work on the small components.
Yes, but it saves time though, right?
On the functionalities.
Yeah, but if you copy it over, it would save time.
Yeah. It saves a lot of time.
Okay, so some of the tips that I found when I was doing it was like this, right? So when you're using Composer, if your chat is getting long, just clear Composer. If it starts being, and then just redo it again, it'll get faster, right? And then try to solve one problem at a time. If you try to solve multiple problems, it might not work. And then basically think through what you want to do before you ask it, right? And basically whenever you review everything, like don't assume it fully works, right?